There's two things I want to break down with the 16th notes. Just walk through the most common 16th note rhythms that you'll come across. Now, when it comes to rhythms, you want to remove all the notes and the harmony and the bass and stuff. I recommend when working on rhythmic stuff, like first to internalize it, just clap because like sometimes the bass can be a barrier to getting out what's in your head. So at first, I just tap my foot on the beat and say the 16th note subdivision grid out loud and clap the rhythm. And what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to like play the rhythm because then you end up rushing it. I'm trying to just let the rhythm land within the grid. So just think about all these rhythms are going to land somewhere along the 16th note grid. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Like the rhythms that you're playing, if you're playing a song like this song that we're going to look at in a sec. So at first, step one is to just clap the rhythm. Just tap your foot on the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then say the grid out loud. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E, and then 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. So that's rhythm one, right? So that's this one. If you go to this one, you can see. So what I've done in this sheet is I've highlighted it in red if it lands on that grid. So you want to be thinking about the whole grid all the time, but then I've highlighted in red which ones you need to clap and which ones you don't. So here, for example, you'd still say 1 E and a, but you would only clap 1 E and a. So 1 E and a. So you tap your foot on the downbeats like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and 1 E and a, 2 E. That's actually a really common rhythm. You'll see that rhythm in this piece in a sec, probably. Yeah, there it is. And there's a specific, like, here's that exact same rhythm, but within a groove context. It's also here. It also happens here. I've specifically chosen these 8 rhythms because they are like really, really common rhythms that you'll find in actual bass grooves, whether it's like funk or whatever. So yeah, rhythm two, 1 E and a. Rhythm three, so 1 E and a. And just break it down. And like sometimes I've said this before, but like I'll break it down out of time, which doesn't really make sense, right? Because we're talking about rhythms. But what I mean by that is all I'm trying to do is figure out where the note lands within the grid. So sometimes I'll do it like this. I'll go like 1 E and ah. Okay. So then you think, okay, I need to clap on 1 E and ah. So 1 E and ah. 1 E and ah. And that's kind of what I'd recommend for you when you're looking at this song is you can almost break down the rhythms out of time. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's really helped students. So yeah, like even this first bar, don't worry about the notes because we're focused on rhythm. So you just go, even though these are quarter notes, like 1 E and I'd still count the grid out loud. So the whole song is based on that 16th note grid. So that first bar, I would just go 3 and 4 E and at, right? Because you got 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Got quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, E and a. So 4 E and a. And I would even, yeah, like do it, you can do it at a time. So you, if you're trying to figure out where it actually lands, you can even write the actual 16th note grid above the notation. There's only 3 grids that you need to get comfortable with, and that's going to be the 8th note grid, the triplet grid, and the 16th note grid. So I've got 3 rhythms here. I've got 3 measures. I've got a bunch of 8th notes. So you just break this down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I've got triplets, and you would break that down as like triplet, triplet. So the beat is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, triplet, 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 triplet. So all you're doing with triplets is taking the beat and dividing it into 3 equal units. With 8th notes, you take the beat, you divide it into 2 equal units. And with 16th notes, you take the beat and you divide it into 4 equal units. And typically, like the slower the tempo, the faster the subdivision grid. So like say it's a slow song, you'll probably be using 16th notes. If it's faster, you'll probably be using 8th notes. And if the music is swung, like jazz or like a blues shuffle, it'll be using the triplet grid. And that's like your rhythmic grid or ruler or framework that you can use like rhythmically to make sure that you're landing the notes in the right place. I call this the switching gears exercise, right? So you just take those three core rhythms, and the idea is that you switch between the rhythms, and you want to pay close attention to the first part of the when you switch. So literally pick up the metronome, and we're just going to play like an open D. And what we want to make sure is that when the metronome clicks, we're playing on the downbeat correctly, right? So we can do it even slower, but let's go 60 BPM, and we'll just play eighth notes. Click, 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 triplet, 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 triplet. And it is basic, but I'll show you how this all ties together. And then you'd break down 16th notes, right? So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Now here's where this switching gears exercise comes into play. So in a manual car, when you change gear, you try and make it as smooth as possible, right, to go into the next gear. So you go from like gear 1 to gear 2, and it's similar here where you don't want to you don't want to stall the car. You want to do a smooth gear change. So the key thing here is when you go between rhythms. So you at first, let's just go from eighth notes, like one measure or bar of eighth notes, one measure or bar of triplets, one measure or bar of 16th notes. You want to go through each one of these rhythms, keep the metronome just clicking on quarter notes, and play through each rhythm. So you'd go like, I'm not going to play the metronome because it'll be out of sync, but like click, click, 2 and 3 and 4, triplet. Right, so yeah, what I was doing now was doing one time on the eighth notes, like one bar on the eighth notes, one bar on triplets, one bar on 16th notes, and what you have to do is switch how you're counting. So I'll be going at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then when I get to here, you'll be going triplet, 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 1 E and a 2. And what you want to watch out for is like when you go from like say it's quite difficult when you go from triplets to 16th notes. What tends to happen is you tend to rush the first group of 16th notes, the 1 E and a. So you kind of want to watch out for you want to try and make that transition as smooth as possible. That's a really, really simple exercise for just getting down the three main subdivision grids and the three rhythms.